I'm happy to join Drew Ferguson, who is the head coach of the Canadian men's national para soccer team, and Samuel Charron. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yep.
Who's the captain of the team? Welcome, guys. I thought maybe we could start for whoever's watching here live, and also, anyone who watches the video. Maybe we could start because probably not everybody knows exactly what is the Canadian men's national para soccer team, and what in what competitions do you compete, and what are the kind of the, I guess we could say, criteria in terms of players getting into the team.
Okay, I'll let Sammy try to have a go at that, and we'll
Oh.
step in if we missed anything. How's that?
So the competitions right now that we take a part in, we have our own 4-year cycles. We have our own world championships, our own World Cup per se, and a few tournaments here and there. And then we obviously have the Para PanAms that are coming up in a week. And criterias, that's probably more of a question for Drew.
I'll just jump in there if I can. So yeah, so Sammy's correct. One of the greatest things about the para program, compared to, say, potentially our men's or boys under 17 national team or the youth programs, is no matter what, we have an international event every year. And as Sam says, they all are qualifiers to get to the World Cup. So again, there's a World Cup, there's World Championships, there's the Para PanAms, and then there's also what we call the regionals, which is our region is exactly the same as Para PanAms. It's not CONCACAF, but it's the Americas. So we are competing against Brazil's, Argentina's, Venezuela's, Colombia's, and all them. So it's a very tough region, but so no matter what, every single year we get an international event, which is brilliant for the players. Great experience. We get more experience than probably a lot of other programs when the kids are young. So yeah, it's very exciting.
Now you mentioned, and again, perhaps this is also important for anyone watching, and anyone who doesn't know, or doesn't maybe follow necessarily para soccer in general. It's 7-a-side, right? What are the other, let's say, rules that are different from soccer, football that we're used to watching?
Yeah, you talk about it. It's a funny game. It's because they play 7-a-side, but it's on a monstrous field. It's
Right.
86 yards, I believe, by 56 yards, I believe. It varies a little bit. Throw-ins, because some athletes will have CP in one hand, so you can actually bowl. You got to down by your knee. You can bowl the ball in instead of throwing with both hands. Our goals are 6 foot high and 18 foot wide versus the regular size, and there's no offsides. So I've been pushing for offsides ever since I've been in a bit, but they believe, and it's a good point, that the game is more exciting because it's wide open. So people are just flying up. I mean, you're talking 6 people on a huge field with a keeper. You're talking about have to be fit to play that game. Yeah, you can't. I mean, I always sort of make a joke when you're watching the English Premier League and somebody gets knocked down and he's lying on the ground for 2.5 minutes. Well, if a para player lied on the ground for 2.5 minutes, it'd be like a power play in hockey. The other team would be playing. It's just how it is, right? And it's a massive field. So you can't hide when you're on a 7-a-side on a big field. There's no doubt about it. If you're not doing the business, you won't be out there too long. And it's so fitness is huge. It's very, very quick, fast, well played. And because there's 3 different disabilities class wise, we've got some people playing professional soccer. There's England's got a couple of guys who play in the Championship League. Russia, Ukraine's, Brazil's got professional players playing in professional soccer, but they qualify for the pair they're playing. So a lot of players across the world, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, we could comfortably play in the MLS or definitely in the Canadian Premier League. Sammy could play in the Canadian Premier League, I believe. I don't think that's an issue. Yeah, the level's good on a big field, and it's not too much of pass back to the keeper. It's pretty much flying back and forth. It's pretty entertaining.
You also mentioned 3 different, I guess, classes of disabilities that sort of make a player eligible to play. So maybe if you could elaborate on that, I think it would be good for everyone to know.
Yeah. Sammy, you can have a try at that one again.
Please.
But right now we have FT1, an FT2, and an FT3. So FT1s, they're affected on both of their legs and their arms. So they are the most affected out of all three classes. So typically movements, what I've noticed from teammates on the FT1 perspective is their feet are more like kind of pigeon-toed, where they're a little bit more inside. And FT2s are more like me, so one side of the body's affected. And yeah, so if you watch the sport, typically most of us are left-footed, whereas if you look at able body, there's not a lot of left-footers, whereas in this sport, most of us at the FT2 level are left-footed. So I will not really use my right foot, if I'm being honest. But and then FT3s, technical term I'm not sure again, but I think it's more along too many concussions or brain injuries, where they got affected into certain things, and they're limited into what they can do on a day-to-day basis, just on their mental side of their performances. And yeah, that's kind of what I know about, like I know about it and how I tell people, and I'm sure Drew's got the more technical side of it.
Yeah, that's yeah. So he's right. I mean, it's so the FT1 is correct. You know, I'm not sure if that phrase is correct anymore. The pigeon toe look, but it's their hips, it's their gait that's affected. So they walk with their toes, say potentially pointed in a wee bit, but if the ball came to the right of them, they cannot open. They would not be able to open their gait where they could trap the ball with the inside of their foot. So
Right.
they play everything with the outside of their feet, basically, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, he's dead right there. The number two FT2s is what he explained. FT3 is again, you could have just mild CP without the acquired brain injury, so that could be an FT3. But most teams, including us, it's usually from somebody's had a car accident, or somebody's a bad accident in football, playing soccer, or any other thing like that, where he can still play at a high level, but his motor skills, maybe when he gets very, very tired, he may have little balance issues, and that it's the naked eye looks at FT3s flying down that field and striking the ball as good as anybody in the English Premier League, et cetera, et cetera. And they're wondering why they're playing, right? I mean, basically, it's all neurologic stuff. So if you have a stroke, which is most of our players on the left side, and a lot of times it's a stroke at birth or within the first year.
Mhm.
So CP is basically that. And then the acquired brain injuries is basically that too. They will be infected. If you tell them to close their eyes and do this and touch the nose, they'll miss their nose, because but they can play. And I mean, Sammy can play, they can play, top quality. So they're all the athletes, just sort of the same classification in as far as what they can do. FT3s can do more, probably. FT2s are there, and then the FT1s. And the FT1s, it's a lot of them end up playing in goal, just because the goals are a little smaller. So if you can find a big 6'3" guy that has limited movement but can still get down, and it might take him a little longer to get back up once he makes a save. But some do play out as well, and if you could find a secret weapon at an FT1 that can run very quick and play foot soccer, that would be a bonus, absolutely.
Right. Yeah, and all three, are can play. So there isn't any, let's say, limit to the number or anything, or
yeah, there is actually.
Okay.
Right now there's you have to have at least one FT1 on the field.
Okay.
And you're only allowed one FT3 on the field.
Okay.
So you could play without an FT3, but you have to have an FT1 on the field.
Mhm.
So if you get a red card or vice versa, or that, you have to adjust your line, because you have to put another FT1 on, or you have to take off an FT3 to put on an FT2. So it goes like that.
Competitive is Canada relative to, I know, Drew, you mentioned, let's say, Argentina, Brazil, that have their national teams training camps all the time, and some of these other European countries. How competitive is Canada relative to some of the other top nations in the world?
Like, I think we're as competitive as any other country, right? When you put on the jersey, when you put on the crest and you have the Canada logo on your shirt, like you're going to be as competitive as you can, right? So as on the competitive level side, I think we're up there with them, right? It's about just showing your heart, and like Drew said, we have the hearts, we have the drive to represent our country and do well for our country. So it's just about finding those opportunities. Like last year, we finished 9th in the World Cup, and we pulled off a big upset. We beat the Netherlands 1-0.
Oh, so
but we can compete with them.
Yeah, it makes it all the more impressive that Canada is competing with all of these top nations. So that's great. So,
and just getting back to fitness a little bit, we only play 30-minute halves. That's the other difference that we play, but on a huge field. So you talk about the fitness level. So someone like Sammy, say, who can fly. So we play him in different positions, but he can play a deeper midfield role and read the game so well. And maybe one sloppy pass across, and he can intercept that 60 yards from the goal. And with only a big field with a 7-a-side, he just has to go by 2 people full speed, and he's on his own. He's got a breakaway, right?
Right.
So his fitness makes a huge difference, where a lot of people wouldn't be able to run 60 yards at full speed, and only have to deal with 1 guy or 2 guys, and the poor guy is standing there and he's running at him full speed. So Sammy does that. Sammy does that probably 80 times a game. So
Hello, can I just chime in? I know we're getting close to our hour mark, so we're going to wrap it up soon. But if you don't mind, Richard, I have a couple questions or comments.
Of course, yeah.
Is that okay, guys?
Of course.
So first of all, I have seen the team play when they were in Toronto, and I mean, I come watch you play when the PanAm games, I guess, or Para PanAm, and let me tell you that 7-a-side is very, very exciting. It's entertaining, and if you're looking to to support the team, you're going to be entertained. Fast paced, very exciting. I just couldn't believe how exciting a 7-a-side game can be. Phenomenal. I really enjoyed it. How do you like playing the 7v7, Samuel, versus your regular game?
It's, for me, action will come, because it's a big field and you don't have a lot of players. So you have no choice but you have to go forward. You have to come back. You have to, like the fitness part, you have to go up and down the field for 60 minutes. There's no, like Drew said, you can't hide anywhere. You can't, take a walk, because if you walk on the field, like, the team's going to take advantage of that. And then like he said, it's like a power play in hockey. It's a big field, but it's still small. So you can't, there's no time to recover. Like, you have to play and you have to go for it, and you have to move, have to check your shoulder every 2 seconds, because you never know. And especially against the teams you're going to be playing, like, they know the game. Like Brazil, for example, like they'll move, and their right back's gonna go striker, their left back's gonna go center mid. Like, you'll see that fluidity, and as an opposing team, you have to be aware of that at all times, because there's no like middle zone. Like, it's once you cross half, like, someone can shoot, someone can score. Like, it's that action packed. Like, you have no choice but to be aware 100% of the time, because when you're not aware, that's when teams, and the good teams, take advantage of that.
And Samuel, you can shoot and you can score. I've seen you play. You got a bullet. I think we're excited to watch you play, and I hope all Canadians come and watch you play, because you're so exciting. I don't know if people know, not only the all-time goal-scoring leader for Canadian national para team, but I believe you won a couple of what do they call it? MVPs in the past World Championships. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've won a few MVPs, and like, I'm sure any soccer player will tell you, like, individual awards are great, but you trade that individual award for a team gold medal or a team medal any day of the week. So as much as they're good, and I enjoy them, and I'm surprised sometimes when I get them, like, it's if I'm doing my job for my team, then so be it. And if I get an award for it, like, thank you, but I want, like, that team award. I want that medal. I want the team to do better than not just myself, just the team. So if I'm able to do that, and if I have to do that just myself, and then have the other players come in and do their jobs as well, I'm sure we'll be able to get that medal and upset a few teams.
Of course, but let's think about this. To be an MVP of a World Cup, just imagine that, and it's Canadian.
Yeah.
So, folks, if you're listening, make sure you catch the team. And Drew, I saw a post. I just have to mention this. Played against Georgie Best.
Yeah.
Tell us about that experience. And
well, I was yeah, I know you're probably running out of time. Yeah, I was very fortunate because I was around in the North American Soccer League in its heyday. So, I mean, Franz Beckenbauer's, Gerd Miller's, Johan Cruyff's, George Best, all of them we played against him. And George Best was a great friend of John McGrain's, and he'd actually lived with John McGrain. So I got to know Bestie and had a few pints here and there with him. But that post just came up. I think it was a North American Soccer League Twitter post or something he had, or Facebook it was, and so I made a quick note that it because he was going by me, it said Bestie Swiss by Drew Ferguson, and he had no shin pads, he had his socks down, so I made it clear that I didn't try to kick him because he didn't have any shin pads on. So that was, but yeah, I mean that 78 to 85. I mean some of the best players in the world were playing against. So it was play with and play against.
I mean, I'll thank you guys so much again for your time, and as I said, it's great to to electronically meet you anyway, and I'll look forward to hopefully one day meeting you guys in person and staying in touch, and I hope everyone out there that was watching learned a little more about para soccer and about our team and our coach and our captain, and if you weren't already a fan, I hope we've converted you into a fan, and maybe got you a little more excited about watching the team whenever you have a chance, perhaps live and also online whenever we get that information. Thanks again, guys, and I'll say
thanks for being on.
Just to everyone who is watching and will see this video in future, remember our organization is a group of volunteers. We need your support. Continue to watch, continue to sign up and register for these webinars and any of our other events online or live. There's lots of stuff happening now, coming up. Consider a membership if you don't have one, and help us to continue to do what we're doing and try to grow the game, and specifically to help coaches here in Canada. So thanks.
All right, awesome, guys. Thank you very much. It was brilliant.
Thanks, guys.